keep up with all the action on the go is Riot Mobile. It's home to all things League, Valorant, and more, where you can watch Worlds live, catch up on series scores, and chat all about the action with your friends. It's almost as much fun as hanging out here with Vedius and Azael.
I heckin' love Freak.
I know. Me too. Isn't Freak great? What's your favorite Freak fact? Yeah, okay, good call. So we got game 2 coming up, and Edward Gaming took game 1. It was a really close one. It was a very fun one. End of the day, Scout, I think, just giant mid gap, right? Like, he was so huge in all these fights. I think he set up so many of those battles.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give credit to Scout, but I also don't want to just pretend that Zeka played some horrible games. Sure. I think Zeka actually was doing quite well in the laning phase.
Sure.
He was forcing out a lot of summoners early on with his shockwaves. Yes, there was that one moment where you're talking about, hey, maybe could have hit a shockwave. You know, I didn't track him closely enough in that fight to know if there was something that
He stepped onto a silence, but there was probably a way to hit it.
Yeah, but either way, you know, I'm going to be interested to see if the priority on that Sylas or Akali goes higher. They are back on blue side here. You know, he did have the opportunity to blind one of those mid laners if he had so chosen. But of course, they wanted to go for the Ashe Heimerdinger. They wanted to go for the Graves. So I'm curious to say if the bans are going to stay the same. Well, already they're not, because Fiora is getting banned out here on blue side, which is very interesting. Now, to me, that says you're just going tank top blind, and you're gonna ban out the Fiora, and I think they're just going to play for more of a standard 5v5.
What we've seen from Flandre is typically he's Mr. Weak Side, right? He's the guy that you leave on an island, you let him do what he wants to do, and Kingen is the guy that's more willing to play these counters. What we have seen so far at this tournament is that he's willing to play Fiora into winning matchups. They're willing to give him champions that he can have a lot more agency on, and EDG trust him to be that carry threat, which does suggest to me that DRX is looking at a Maokai or an Ornn to be played in the top lane.
It could also be, I mean, these bans say Aatrox, right? So now they're trying to force them. Do you want to ban Graves or do you want to ban Aatrox? I think is the decision that EDG are having to make
or
here.
Sylas?
They're going to ban
Wait
Maokai.
a minute.
Sylas is
So Aatrox is the pick, 100%.
Yes,
right?
sure.
Because it's like if you ban Fiora and Renekton, which are the two most common answers to the Aatrox, you're just going to go it. And if Flandre wants to be Mr. Weak Side and play a tank, well, guess what? Aatrox is great into tanks. It does mean, though, you could be giving over a combo like Graves, plus, you know, you could just go back to the Azir even. So there is a lot of power picks that are available here for EDG, but Kingen is going to get the highest presence champion in the tournament. And they're just going Jax, okay.
Thanks for the bans. Don't care. Jack's coming through anyway. And interestingly enough, though, they're actually rushing on the Sejuani. My eyes are still so much on Sylas.
Yeah.
It was Scout's second most played across summer, but he has not played at Worlds so far.
But I think we could just have Akali versus Sylas mid lane, right? Because it's at one side, Zeka could go for one blind. Honestly, it's a pretty basic skill-based matchup. Both of those are great melee champions that pair well with the Sejuani. So I feel like Scout could play either side of that. I do really like the Poppy as an answer here because it would be good into the Jax, into the Sejuani, and into the Akali or the Sylas if you actually are expecting that to be taken.
I am expecting a... Not this. This was... That's what I was expecting.
There we go.
Yeah,
It's got to be Akali versus Sylas.
I think it will be...
Side he wants, right?
I think it's the Akali person. Yeah, I think it will... what's
this
thinking?
one.
I mean, I like Sylas because it gives you some engage by stealing the Sejuani ult,
So-
but they are instead going to go towards the Akali.
My opinion, based on what I've seen at Worlds, is that Akali is favored in the isolated 1v1.
Yeah.
I agree with you that it is a skill matchup. There's no shot they're going to do Galio.
It's going to be some.
I do think that Twisted Fate is a really good pick, though, into the Akali. We know how deep Scout's
Jax,
champion
too.
pool is, but in my opinion, okay, so they're going to stick with the Azir. Traditionally, Akali is considered a counter into the Azir, as she is into many mages because of her ability to dive on top of them and have that kill threat once she gets to level 6. But Scout demonstrated in game 1 that he's feeling good on the matchup, he's feeling good on the champion, and he's saying that I can still guarantee pressure in this lane 1v1. Maybe we can do that if we can also get ourselves a winning bot side.
It's such an interesting draft because it is taking some left turns here a little bit. You know, Flandre, obviously, you know, he can play the carries. He won Worlds last year playing Graves. You know, he's obviously a carry top. The Jax, you know, is strong into the Aatrox, but I will say the early levels can be very difficult, and you have to play the Jax really well to actually do well in this matchup. It's very, very difficult if you are getting constantly poked out, you know, by these Qs from Aatrox, harassed under tower. You know, Jax wants to more look for those all-ins where, you know, Aatrox tends to win that kind of chip and trade back and forth. So it can be difficult to deal with.
I do love this Kai'Sa ban from DRX. Everything from EDG was suggesting that they kind of wanted to dive on top of you.
Yeah.
They wanted to get up close and personal. And I think the Kai'Sa being respected, so no Kai'Sa Nautilus to the side of Viper and Mako. The question is, what other direction could they go? Would they want to stick to something like the Sivir? EDG, on the other hand, are saying, we don't want you to have long-range, safe scaling AD carries, both the Ashe and the Jinx removed from Deft.
I wonder if that means that they want to go towards Aphelios on the side of EDG, right? Because some people do really like Jinx as an answer into the Aphelios. So that would give you really strong scaling options if you just went Aphelios here, and you pick support for a winning 2v2 on 5. I think that could make a lot of sense. Deft obviously is also just exactly, yeah. Deft is also really known for his Jinx. It is one of his historically best champions. Yeah. So I think this is really smart because it's a strong duo that it really answers, I think, most things well in the meta. Because you have support pick on 5, that can really kind of account for any sort of difference.
Well, we'll see it hover down, probably get locked in. Lulu.
I like it.
Likely an answer here. We'll see Lucian Nami is up, was played every single game of the previous series. Also, you can go for something like a Varus Heimerdinger if you're going for something a little bit more unusual. Of course, Ashe was banned away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're going to go for the Lucian Nami because that's kind of considered to be countered generally by the Aphelios Lulu. Draven would be really, really exciting if we are going to get something super aggressive. So it's going to be the other option. I wonder now, so they're going Ezreal plus Heimer. So heavy poke, right? Generally, there's two schools of thought. If you go Ezreal, you either go Ezreal with an engaged support and you roam, or you go Ezreal with something like a Karma or a Heimer or whatever, and you look to dominate the lane through poke. They're going to try to dominate through poke here. And it would be a tougher laning phase if they go Lulu, but the scaling on EDG's side is just insane.
And I think the EDG is very comfortable with that. It is their bread and butter. We talked a lot about it in Game 1. They are one of the best team fighting teams in the world. The reason why they were so competitive in the LPL during playoffs was because of their incredible team fighting. And that man in the mid lane, Scout, he will once again be on the Azir. He'll have the Lulu as additional utility to help protect him and the rest of the team. DRX going for a bit of a mishmash when it comes to their composition. Yeah. One of my criticisms of Game 1 was that if they wanted Kingen to be this split-pushing threat, I think it would have been better to have Zeka on something like an Akali so they can have multiple split-pushing threats, and it facilitates better into their pick comp style. However, they don't have the Ashe this time, so while I think that they do have that silent threat, that pick threat is now what they're lacking. They really don't have much utility and really much range outside of the bot lane from DRX when competing against Aphelios and Azir.
I mean, you have alt Heimer grenade, that's like about it. That or a flank is really what you're looking at, for the engage. So I always feel when you play these kind of compositions that DRX has, you have to be winning early because you have to be first to objectives. These comps can circumvent their lack of engage when people are checking into them, when people are having to come through those Heimer turrets and the Ezreal poke, and there's Poppy on one side, Aatrox on the other, you're having to walk in. It's very difficult. But if you are to fall behind with this style of composition, you don't really have a lot of ways to come back because you can't actually find pick. You're not going to win through side against Jax, and you don't really have that hard engage. So your options become very, very limited. So, if EDG are just able to keep it even in the early stages, I think they're going to be feeling so good about their chances in this game.
They certainly are. I think EDG already securing Game 1, looking good. We'll see if they can continue that momentum as we head into Game 2.
Alrighty, what's it going to be? DRX had a huge early game lead in Game 1, but EDG found the win through team fighting and heroics out of Scout, who is back on the Azir. Zeka, however, second time around, had the option of playing Akali in Game 1, now plays it in the same match he could have played it in before.
The crowd seems quite competitive right now. A lot of EDG support, but a lot of DRX here as well. Of course, both the LPL and the LCK have strong representatives making their way into the semifinals already. Will we see a 3 LCK trio in the semis, or will we see 2 LPL and 2 LCK? EDG currently lead the series, and once again, they're looking to emulate their success from Game 1. Strong team fighting, as Ale and I have already talked extensively about the late game insurance of this Azir Aphelios. Those familiar with Pro Play League should have seen this combo multiple times throughout the world. They're no stranger to it. The real surprise to us is this Jax in the top lane. They were confident in giving over this Aatrox to Kingen, and then Flandre having the answer.
What's interesting is across Flandre's career, he does have a lot of carry games, a lot of okay, yeah, Nars the most played, but like there's Vladimir's one in there. This is his 9th ever Jax game across an 8-year-long career. Like, Jax is not the one he actually goes to very often. It doesn't win the lane, it outscales the Aatrox, sure, but this is not what he normally goes to.
And I will say, I really like this turret placement. You know, hugging the wall here so that the minions aren't actually aggroing directly onto them. The minions aggro each other, and this just gives you the push, right? It's giving you that additional advantage. And Viper now, they're going to go aggressive onto him.
Yeah, a lot of damage on a half HP, but now back on a barrel. Gliderland slows. Not going to go for any flash follows there. Viper could have maybe tried, but might have found himself dead to death. Still means the push goes over the DRX's side.
And all they force is the Ghost off Viper, and he is playing Ghost Flash. It is not, you know, a standard defensive summoner spell. The heal is on Mako, and both those summoners down on Beryl. He's going to be so vulnerable now. You know, if JJ can find an opportunity in this next 5 minutes to get down towards bot lane, could be very, very effective.
You can see, though, that DRX maintaining this push. Not quite as scary as the Ashe Heimerdinger is, but obnoxious nonetheless. Flandre being able to get this early push is no surprise. When we talk about early laning phase, normally once Kingen has gotten a few more points in his queue is when you start winning out in the isolated 1v1. But for the time being, Flandre will maintain that push. Same in the mid lane for Scout. And this means that JJ pathing up towards the top side. His primary goal here will be to cover Flandre in the event of any early shenanigans from Pyosik.
Nice up into the Q3 though by Kingen at the very least. They trade blows back and forth. 3 CS difference. The pressure for Flandre. We'll see if he wants the lane to go back to his side. Finish whatever Jax wants to do. He'll get out of this one. JJ going to be sitting around. He knows if Poppy were to come around, this would be an unplayable gank situation. And I'm not sure if he saw the trick go down. They didn't see Sejuani, so Pyosik about to be face checking in, and at what point do they go for it? There's the slow. Looking for the Q in a second there, and he's gonna find the first stun. Leap strike won't land. Pyosik trying to run away. He is phase rush, and he might have already triggered it, as now you've got the rest coming around. Scout will not get any more than this, but Pyosik down his flash.
Great coverage there, though, by JJ. Flandre, you know, using the lead strike a little bit too early because the W had already been popped from Poppy, I believe, before she was stunned up. So he could have just waited that out, potentially been able to get enough damage in that either he would have gotten the kill or Scout could have flash followed for that kill. But either way, they do force out the summoner. They keep Jax safe here on that reset. And Flandre's actually going to hold on to the teleport. He knows that he might be getting targeted in this lane here, as he does have to push aggressively if he wants to be able to threaten those all in. So he's actually just going to hold on to the TP. Yes, he'll lose a little bit of experience, a little bit of gold from a couple minions, but I always really favor holding on to that.
Yeah, I think it's really wise because you never know, right? Poppy comes around next time around and it's like, I lost 2 waves that I could have gotten by TPing. It's like, I guarantee you lose 2 CS here or have a chance at saving 14 CS. And, you know, makes that estimation, says it's the right way to do it. It does mean he's going to be temporarily at an XP deficit. Really nice play by Kingen, actually getting away from the entire combo. Getting the better side of it as JJ is here yet again. But Flash being up for the Aatrox should make this pretty tough to play for.
Right now, is he snuck into
I don't
the
believe
push?
that reveals in player POV, this isn't revealed to you.
Yeah.
As spectator, you get infinite information, but only once he autos will he land stacked. You can see Flandre not autoing him.
JJ is committing to this play. Kingen does have the level advantage. Here we go.
For it. Finds the first stun, slow combo. He's going to flash, find the stun, and a flash over. They're going to have it after all. Beautifully set up, beautifully secured. First blood goes to Flandre.
That was so well done there. Double flash straight in onto Kingen, and they hold the Sejuani stun for after Kingen flashes so they can catch right back up onto him. Really, really nicely done. And now we're seeing the inverse of what we were talking about play out here. Pyosik, though, looking for a wraparound on bot, but Beryl may just be dead.
Beryl has no summoners, and he's going to go down to the first kill for Aphelios indeed. Yes, it's a trade kill, well done, but EDG getting the best of it they could in a 2v3.
EDG gaining advantages in the lane. They find a good gank on the top side in the 2v2 from Viper and Mako, wanting a little bit of revenge after the pressure that they were put under in game 1. Secure that kill onto Beryl and punish him for his level 1 aggression.
I mean, that is just huge. They get the kill on the top on a TP-less Aatrox, who, you know, now the wave was going to bounce. It's going to push away from him, so he's in a really bad spot. Flandre still maintains TP advantage. And then in the 2v3 here, Beryl gets caught by the Glitter Lance, gets rooted up, and just gets knocked down there. Beautiful job by the EDG bot lane, winning out on the 2v3.
Funnily enough, it's the minion that actually secures that kill at the very end. They didn't quite have enough damage, but you could see that little auto attack flying through the air from the minion, ending up securing that kill onto Beryl. Which means that EDG rather find themselves with a kill advantage. Gold, though, still very comparable. The reason is, when you have a look at the CS, Zeka finding a pretty significant advantage in the isolated 1v1, choosing to run the fleet footwork to give him a little bit more sustain as the all-in from Flandre, but Pyosik's here to cover.
Now Division finds the stun, but King not going to find anything more to do. A couple of slows come out of Pyosik. Decent damage here on Flandre. And here comes Sejuani. Going to find a knockup out of the Aatrox. Decent damage coming around. And even with that gank, it's DRX finding the better trade.
Yeah, going to be able to get the better trade and going to be able to push this in critically. They're just trying to cover Kingen on this push. He has no TP, he has no flash, so Pyosik knows his game is pretty over if he dies there again. So they really want to make sure that that did not happen, but not going to be able to threaten any sort of a dive. I just think that they're too healthy.
It's actually committed in towards the top lane. Zeka is on his way in, so is Scout.
It's reading that there's going to be a longer play on the top side. Scout has indeed walked up. They go over the play here. Ulti's then going to land. Seconds coming around. Those are going to be enough. They shuffle the boat with the turret. No one has aggro yet, but the damage should be enough. It is traded back. Zeka reads the play and salvages what would have been a 1-for-0.
Ends up being a 1-for-1. A good teleport from Zeka, but it's EDG that's actually first to the play. We see a little bit more trading on the bot side of the map, but I don't think it's going to result in a huge amount. The fact that Scout was able to roam up first, it felt like that he could see the play happening before it did. He's able to find another beautiful ultimate onto 2, forcing DRX underneath the tower. Really sets up EDG for success, and if it wasn't for Zeka being here, this could have been much worse for DRX.
But still, just such a good ulti there from Scout. Shoves them both under the tower, so there's not even really an opportunity to fight back. And yes, Zeka does clean up the 1-for-1, but at the end of the day, he expended his teleport. You know, there's no kill on the Aatrox. Jax just gets further and further ahead off that because he picked up a kill, he picked up an assist, and now JJ looking to see if he can steal his way, but he doesn't have an upgraded smite, so it should be Pyosik as long as he's committing his smite.
But he doesn't know that he's in the brush there. QW, and he actually gets it. Tagging on the wall, though. Level 6. Ulti not back up, but it doesn't matter. What a nice play out of JJ.
That's cheeky, JJ. That's very, very cheeky. Taking away the red buff right from underneath his nose. DRX will find themselves with a small gold lead for the time being, but a small win there for JJ as he steals away the red buff.
And that's really down towards that bottom side. That is their kind of main advantage right now. A little bit of a gold lead there in mid as well. You know, Deft playing that first strike Ezreal. They have been having some good little bits of poke that they're landing onto Viper to try to establish a small CS advantage. Of course, Beryl did die. But overall, that 2v2 is still going pretty well for them.
And I want to go back to this mid lane point because Zeka getting a CS advantage in this lane matchup is not typical. Often the Azir will be pressuring that Akali underneath the tower, forcing you to lose those early CS, but by choosing to run the fleet footwork, it means that in the long game, you end up coming out with the sustain advantage with both the Doran shield and the constant healing that you get from that passive. Means that Zeka playing the laning phase very well. Let's see if he can translate that lane advantage into the team fight later on as JJ has found Beryl.
Oh, what a great start. Will it be enough, though? Summoners are down, and Viper secures the kill, 2-0.
Yeah, Beryl failing his flash over the wall there. Popped the flash, but was not against it. They're going to try to make a counterplay up on top side with Flandre.
Pyosik pulls aggro, wait for the turret to cool back down. I think they're waiting out his ultimate, get him less stats, and they're going to go back in once it's down.
They want him to pop Counter-Strike, but he's just refusing to do it. But if they go for it and he pops Counter-Strike, then he might be able to turn it around.
They're pressing Q. He's going to do the same. Jump back to the minions to get out. Got a fair bit of the XP, but he missing all of the gold. Great restraint on both sides.
You ever seen that scene in The Office where they're all pointing finger guns at each other? That's what that was. They were all just looking at each other awkwardly, and Flandre just decides, you know, I've got another meeting to get to, so I'm just gonna leave this one for now. Of course, that will mean that he falls behind in the CS point, but as Freak mentioned earlier, it's more about the scaling for this top lane matchup as Viper continues to get the better of Beryl here down in the bot lane.
It's all about that standoff. You know, when you're trying to go for those dives on Jax, you almost always have to force the Counter-Strike first. Otherwise, you just likely will not have the damage to actually finish him off there. But DRX do push him back. They are going to be able to get a Herald off the back of this. So despite it feeling like a lot of the things are going EDG's way, the gold is still very close, and Herald has the opportunity to get them out. And this is just Beryl just not quite against the wall when he flashed. Oof. And that just seemed like it was a misplaced flash. He was kind of flashing backwards. I think he saw the ultimate coming out, and maybe his mouse was just in the wrong spot, so he's just a little bit of a panic flash, it felt like.
A part of me thinks that he thinks that even if he flashed over the wall, he was going to get hit by the Sejuani ultimate, so he decided to flash left. But it looks like that with no flash, he ain't getting out of this one.
Stuck with a slow, and then give it over to the AD carry yet again. Looks like it is going to be claimed by Sejuani. JJ gets his share of the action now. It's 5-2, and they are just picking on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is looking rough for Beryl in this one. And this is, a lot of times people will talk about the issues that you can have with these mage supports, right? Mage supports are known for being able to bully in the 2v2, but something what people will always say is, yeah, but what about the ganks? You don't really have the ability to escape from a lot of these ganks. And, you know, Beryl losing that flash multiple times in this lane has been easy prey for JJ. And now it's a 0-3-1 Beryl here that is really been most of the kills this game.
Yeah, really well done to find those bits of action. You can see that the gold still favoring DRX very slightly. A 20 CS lead for the Aatrox. Collect this wave after Jax pushes it in, because he's still, despite being down in kills, able to play the lane out pretty well. And they're going to get even more as long as Def should stay in range. He is plus 610. Thank you very much. Def is huge at 5,500 gold. He's 1,000 ahead of anyone else in the game.
And I'm just so curious though, like, are they going to start dragon stacking? Because since they haven't really established that big of a gold lead, I'm just trying to think about how they are expecting to play this one out, right? Because you're really low on engage. You need to be able to force your opponents to come to you at the points which you are strong. Generally use the dragons to be able to do that, but they haven't even taken their first 12 minutes in. So even if they begin to now, Soul will be so far away that I feel like EDG are going to have all the time they could ever want to get to their 2-3 items before they have to fight.
For sure. EDG just feel like they're in full control of the game right now. And the gold difference is surprisingly deceptive. You know, gold is often a good indicator of who is like in the lead right now, but I feel like a lot of these gold leads being generated by DRX are just small individual lane advantages being built, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not that dramatic. It means the DRX should still be on pace in terms of itemization. There's still options for them, but I really feel like that when the map opens up is when DRX's comp becomes a lot more unleashed. But as we talked about, Azael, with the Ashe, they had way more room to find picks on the map, but now they're forced to try and look for these dives, and I don't think this will go the way they want.
Flash out for Flandre, ult the on, and not going to get much more out of Pioshik. Still gets the flash, which is nice. Flandre, though, withstanding the aggression, still on 0 deaths.
And credit to Flandre, because this is historically what he's known for, right? The weak side player, the one that often gets a lot of resources for a good ult from JJ.
Found themselves a stun. Will it kill Beryl for the 4th time this game? In comes Jackson. Flandre gets his part of the buffet.
He gets another kill. Flandre has been withstanding the pressure, surviving as best as he can. And every time EDG gets up there, they seem to get kills. When DRX gets up there, all they're getting is maybe a slight CS advantage here, and Kingen will be waiting around for it, so we'll be able to collect the wave as Pioshik is up here to cover. But again, another play going the way of EDG. And Flandre has got to be very close to his mythic now if he doesn't already have it.
It's just pick after pick going in favor of EDG. JJ has been everywhere on the map right now, but involved in 5 of the team's 6 kills. Outside of that 2v2 that was happening in the bot side of the map, he has been everywhere, finding ganks top, finding ganks mid, finding ganks bot, and DRX yet to really gain much on the map. You can see the towers being chipped away at. They do have the advantage down towards the bot side of the map. Of course, those plates being secured with DRX was very favorable, but next Dragon spawning that 3-minute time, that's where I expect the next big fights to be happening between these two teams.
3:15, a while to go. But right now, you see the duo lanes have gone to mid lane, pushing the waves back and forth now. Is unfortunately for Deft and his lane mate, they have not gotten nearly the kind of pressure they had before. They did knock the whole turret down. That was, you know, nice with the Rift Herald and all that, but they usually have that first strike. They've essentially swapped objectives from the prior game. It's DRX still, though, 1,000 gold up in the early game, just like last time.
JJ is hovering around the top side of the map. Will throw out a bit of vision, but DRX quick to respond. What I will say is when I think about the pressure on both these team shoulders, you have to wonder if a lot more is sitting on the shoulders of EDG. You're going to hear it a lot today, but reigning world champions, that is what they are. One of the few teams and organizations to maintain their roster after winning worlds. The 2 exceptions to that were Samsung from 2016 to 2017, or 2017 to 2018 rather. And then it was Invictus Gaming, back from 2018 to 2019. We'll see if EDG can usurp the curse of being knocked out after winning the World Championship. But really, T1 is the only organization that's won back-to-back World Championships, and it wasn't even with the same roster, right? Exactly. It was only Faker who was able to do it.
Yeah, and for IG, you know, they're the furthest the team has gotten after winning and then returning with the same roster. They got to the semifinals. The other team to do it, Samsung, I believe, did get knocked out actually in groups. So,
yes,
you know, it is one of these situations where it is pretty rare to be able to maintain that level of dominance for so long. EDG setting up the dive here as Kingen comes in.
Versus 1, Kingen flash the way, gets a ton of knockups, locks JJ down to the turret, and he's got reinforcements. Will it be enough? Not just yet. Everyone getting away. Poppy, evict, flashes in, looks for Scout, not quite killing him. He's got enough reinforcements, and with Mako around, the durability is too much. The rest of the DRX are coming around as well. Over the wall goes down, half HP on the Viper. EDG, 5 men strong, running away.
It's EDG forced to play on the defense. They were the team setting up the dive, but the response from DRX was swift. Beryl has his eyes on a play, but I don't think they're going to convert it into much. The TP coming out from the Ezreal, going down towards the mid lane. The ultimate just to delay the backs. TRX want to secure objectives, and they're going to do just that. Top tower secured. They have their eyes on mid as well.
They're going to get 2 towers and a Herald off of this. This is actually brilliant. We saw Deft just TP straight towards mid. Baryl, they'll pull the aggro tower.
Oh, had to flash the ulti. Gale Force! And the Q lands 5 dead. Baryl is feeding.
Viper sends his regards. Say goodnight, Baryl. Another death for him. Trying to play it cheeky, trying to zone Viper away from getting back to his tower. But Viper says, bro, you're not that strong.
It was last year that Baryl had to lose at the hands of EDG in the final. And here in Game 2, he is struggling against the bot lane of EDG, considered one of, if not the best bot lane in the world, Viper, proving why he holds that title.
Absolutely. I mean, Viper has just been so impressive in the LPL. When it comes to team fight time, this guy really plays the edge so incredibly well. You know, it's some of the most impressive team fighting you really will ever see. Flandre now pushing up here, but again, JJ close by, will be there for cover.
Pioshik, Hex Flash over the wall, does not get anything more out of it. Flandre ults for durability, that's actually doesn't get hit too badly. Second Drake of the game, looking to go to EDG's way. Pioshik is around, could try to find the smite. Zeka zone out for a second, go for the stun, smited, well done. But the team fight is here. Big damage out of King in an eviction on a 1. JJ gonna be attacked, he should go down, and yes, the kill goes over to Deft. It's DRX trying to find a team fight in the mountain. Actually, it's the Infernal Rift making it easy to chase on in. That means Mako's gonna be in range, and Mako is gonna drop. EDG have the Drakes, but DRX kill the champion.
And they have a Herald as well. Could they go to Baron here? Or are they just gonna push for towers? There's no jungler alive. They didn't make the call. They're gonna play for gold. They're gonna go for the inhibitor tower here. Tier 2 will fall quickly, but can Scout prevent a second charge?
I think it'll one shot from the eye at this point, so as long as he's there.
Yep.
Pop, down it goes, nothing else done. And I think, yeah, if Baron had spawn, that would have been the option for TRX.
Oh, of course.
It was so
It feels much later into the game, considering how tense these team fights are as well, so I don't blame you. But yeah, DRX walk away with a big fight there, and you can see how quickly the gold lead has ballooned. Earlier I said it was a bit deceptive, it's not anymore, and you can see how JJ gets a really good smite onto the Dragon. But look at how they're able to play this front to back, knocking out the Jax and forcing them into this choke point, and a really clutch stun there from Baryl onto Viper. He turns back to try and land a bit of damage onto the engaging TRX. But EDG, they just don't have the summoners to disengage from this, and TRX just barrel through the enemy's jungler and extend to a 5k gold lead.
Yeah, and King showcasing the value of that Aatrox in that fight, being able to drain tank through a lot of the damage. You know, surprised DRX was still able to find the angle. Zeka had been chunked out so heavily by Viper on the side, and he had one of those Aphelios turrets down, and did about 50 to 60% of Zeka's health before he even was able to enter the fight. So it was looking like it could have been a good one for EDG, but that Poppy ultimate, the frontlining of the Aatrox really shining through. And DRX team fight their way to a 5k gold lead here. Are able to claim another tower off the back of that, so now Deft is ridiculously strong. And you look at the completed items here down in this bot lane, he's already transformed. And Romana already stacked up here. He's looking good.
It's one of those situations where it doesn't matter if we can find criticism or weaknesses in DRX's comp, because they have Aatrox. And this champion is considered way too strong. He just seems so flexible on the power he can generate in lane, but more importantly, what he can do in team fights. And I think that this is the biggest thing that EDG still need to find a way to deal with. As long as Kingen is getting onto the EDG, well, anyone, he's able to just melt them and tear apart these fights. We'll see if EDG can find more impressive team fights as the game continues.
And Flandre is going for the Frozen Heart second build, which I do really favor. I think it's very, very strong on the Jax. You know, it's pretty good in the 1v1 against these physical damage side lane that he's going to be dealing with. But it also is really, really nice in the 5v5 because you have such high amounts of CDR. It makes your Leap Strike, your Counter Strike very, very low cooldown. So you can jump in on Deft, you can force him back, and then still retreat back to your team and have that additional set of cooldowns up to go back in again later.
Count down the time. 2 minutes to go until this next Drake spawns. It is not sold just yet. We have seen JJ getting the better of smites. Not only last game, but this game as well. Taking away the red buff, for example. Over the wall goes Kingen. A lockdown. Viper tries to run. Lulu helps, but he's still going to go down. Pioshik gets the kill. credit, second death of the game for Viper.
I was not expecting the Heimerdinger to be the pickmaster in this game. A beautiful ultimate comes out from Beryl, catches Viper with no flash, and now they can convert it into the Baron.
Post 20 minutes, baby. I'm
Hell
right
yeah,
this
it
time.
is
They're
Azael.
going to Baron.
Ooh, nice little attempt there. Yeah, Barrow playing so far to the edge. Punished a lot for it in the early game, but now 20 minutes in has gotten so much for them. 4,000 health left of this one. JJ has flash, he has smite, he has the ability to play it out. The question is, will Poppy keep him away? The stun, he still gets the ult off in time. It's gonna be smited. Pyosik guarantees it. That was beautiful.
DRX are just taking over in these last couple minutes. This is incredible. The team fight around the Dragon. They get another team fight here a couple minutes later. The gold lead has just absolutely exploded. Now over 6,000 gold ahead here, and they're going to be wearing the Baron buff when this third dragon spawns. They'll have a good shot at trying to stop the snowball towards Soul that EDG has rolling.
It has felt like a very strange game because the early game, even though DRX were getting these small gold leads, it didn't feel like it was significant enough to really stop the powerful scaling that EDG would still have as the game progressed. It felt like that they wouldn't have the tools to find these picks, so they wouldn't really be able to do much against the EDG comp, but they keep finding picks. They're getting really creative with how they create these pockets of vision, and now they're looking for another one. Viper will be forced off this wave, and it's something that we're continuing to see from this DRX team where they control the space incredibly well. Now Zeka is looking for a pick of his own on the scout.
Gonna find it there. ER all gonna land, but with his jungler around is gonna be enough. Oh, the R2 is late. The stun lands as well, and he's burning, and he doesn't have lethal damage anymore. The E would be all that would kill, and it wouldn't land at the end of the day. 100 health left on him. He's got some honey fruit. The jump on in for Scout. The shutdown comes through. Drake is alive. Heimer kills it. Bot lane gonna drop the Aatrox as well.
They're getting stuff on the other side of the map, but I mean, he had full info. He knew that was a 1v2, and he decided to just try to take it anyway. Not able to find the execution there to make it happen. He does get the flash off of Scout, so at least it is a trade of summoners there, but Zeka really didn't have any reason to try to take that 1v2 while his team is just getting so much on the other side.
Yep, EDG, while they will be happy with the single kill and the tower, DRX walk away with the Infernal Drake and a bot tier 2, maintaining that 5k gold lead, extending it just a little bit. DRX, they still need to be able to break into the base of EDG. With the amount of wave clear that EDG have, we need to see a DRX splitting up the map. And I understand this idea of Zeka looking for a pick in a side lane. That's ideally what you want to do on champions like the Akali. Create these situations where maybe you can get the outplay in the 2 versus 1. Credit to Scout with his timing on the ultimate. Just as Zeka is ulting, he uses it to interrupt that dash, meaning that Zeka had no escape options. But DRX need to keep this pressure up. The Baron is going to be wearing off at about 30 seconds time. They've secured all, or at least most, of the tier 2 towers. I believe that they still haven't quite secured the top one. They found Mako. They're not going to commit to it, and this top tier 2 is slowly being chipped away at.
Some good news, though, for EDG is that Viper will be closing in on his IE. He already has the 2 items. He's going towards that IE third here. The BF is already in pocket, so if you can get towards that, you are going to be very, very threatening in these 5v5s, especially with this Lulu behind you. But you can see the vision. They're really starting to get choked out.
Yeah, and when we talk about controlling space, this is exactly what we mean. Notice how they move into these pockets of darkness, and then they just sit there with their poke. And the second that EDG tried to come in and contest some of the vision, they get forced off it, meaning that it's DRX that can either wait out the wards if they can't sweep them out, or they replace them with their own wards. And now they're just stealing away all these neutrals. Def just picked up the red buff. He's now going to get himself a blue buff. And DRX, they're playing the map incredibly well.
They really are, you know, and at the very least, EDG can move in on the other side. As soon as they see that Deft and Beryl are down towards bot side, they move in, they try to clear out some vision, reestablish a little bit of control, but it's looking really nice for DRX. You have to credit them with how well they're playing the map.
Yep, 6,000 gold lead, 1,200 of that. The Red Bull Baron power play that ended a minute ago. As they slowly stack up their side of the objectives, EDG not threatening a Dragon Soul, but with how much DRX owns the map. 5-1 in turrets. Farm actually pretty solid everywhere. Every single lane is up except for support.
And one thing that, you know, it doesn't really showcase itself in the CS lead is Deft has gotten 700 gold from First Strike, and nearly 800 gold now. So a couple kills already grabbed basically from him. Scout on the other side has accrued about 400 gold. So, you know, really, it is starting to pay dividends. And you can see that additional burst on these ultis. Every single time the ult is up and First Strike is available, Deft is just firing out these ultis, trying to poke out his opponents. You get that additional gold from the First Strike. And it's been kind of up and to the right over these last couple minutes here. They've opened up quite a large gold lead. 6,500 or thereabouts, only 26 minutes in is really, really impressive.
It's one of those things that ultimately I underestimated. Often when we judge team compositions, we often remove the nameplates and we look at the comps purely objectively, comp to comp. This is Deft's F0, right? This man, he often has an aimbot associated with this champion, and he is famous for it because of how experienced and good he is at playing the champion and often the matchup. Yet to die, 203, 277 CS, and he's nearing that 1,000 gold mark with his first strike, Azael, and he's only continuing to make that gold gap bigger between the 280 carries.
Absolutely, and you have to give credit to Peril as well. Despite the fact that he has 5 deaths this game, he has been able to make some plays in these last couple minutes. And Peril is a guy that has been throughout his career very creative. Last year at Worlds, he was actually tied for the most unique champion picks out of all the players there with 12. This year, coming into the series, he already had 6 unique picks and had only replayed one champion, the Heimerdinger, coming in. Of course, now he's played a couple more Heimer games.
What a one trick.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just cool to see the confidence and the mastery over some of these unique champions that, Heimer is not an everyone S-tier pick. It is only really for a few of these players who seem to have mastered it.
All I'm going to say is there is an element of irony of an underdog team using Heimerdinger to upset a dominant historic LPL team. The Baron now spawning in about 10 seconds time, and DRX looking to control the top side, but EDG want to fight back.
Goes for the ult. They actually want to kill the Pyosik, but it's not going to be enough. They decide, actually, no, the fight's not here for a second to spot Scout. Just going to be wave clear, though, as Dev feels happy to run up and go for even more poke. JJ without an ultimate, not going to be nearly as scary for Engage, so EDG don't have a good way to start the fight out as the map continues to be choked from them. The gold, to be fair, has remained relatively flat at around 6,000 gold.
And while Pyosik took a lot of damage there, he has a Warbox, so he's just going to heal that right back up. This is not a big deal. I love that on tank junglers when you are needing someone to step forward and actually check through these brushes. As long as they can't 100-0 him, the poke damage just doesn't matter.
The King leveraging the fog once more. That's a good flank position.
Viper has Ghost Flash Gale Force. He should feel pretty safe. TP now comes in as well to bring in Scout. This could be the fight. Eviction from Poppy. It's not going to land. Goes out a little bit too late. That might mean the angle. Pyosik cannot get rid of anyone anymore. Shrelly has popped out from Mako. Not going to matter there. King entered the target. Gale Force again cannot find his stun, but Pyosik could be chunked. One more auto gets the stun, and they can kill him. He flashes, just barely stays alive, and waits for the Warmog's region to kick back in. They keep this 5-on-5 going. The Drake is alive. For now, there's no Drake. A flash. Force at a barrel. A Scout goes in for more. Could have got his own flash. Doesn't go for it. Could come right back around. And now Pyosik is regenning.
Yeah, he's regenning right back to full, but Kingen has no flash, no ulti, so this Aatrox is going to be a lot weaker in the fight. They also use the ulti on Beryl. They use the ulti there on Death. EDG are going to start this up, and they do have the ultimate advantages and the summoner advantages right now.
Big 3 ults up right now for EDG. True Shot Barrage going to cross. Now it's only Akali. Stun's going to land. Dragon burn down. Soul play for EDG. But can they get out? Here comes Kingen. The knockup. But the rest of the backline stays safe for now. Tackle won't find the stun either. Zek has to jump back out. No one dying just yet. Kingen almost stunnable. Zek won't find the rest of it. E2 into R2 backwards, and there is no kill to be had. A Drake secured. EDG on Infernal Soul Point.
A very tense exchange between EDG and DRX. It is EDG that will walk away with the Dragon and put themselves on Soul Point, but you can see how terrifying this DRX squad is right now. Level 17 on Zeka, level 16 on Kingen, and Azael, you highlighted how so many of the ultimates were unavailable at the start of the fight. Had they been, that could have been EDG wiped off the map.
Absolutely, but some big item completions coming through there. Death Cap just purchased up for Zeka, as well as that IE on the other side, so the lethality for these champions is going to be that much higher. You have that fight again here. All of a sudden, Pyosik doesn't slink out with a couple health. He dies to that IE of Helios. And they've got to play these fights so damn well, because this late into the game, one lost fight is going to mean the Baron, and can mean an enormous swing in the game.
I will say, Deft, when you look across EDG's comp, what is the real threat against it?
Ooh,
and that is some very real damage. Level 16, 4 items fully completed for Deft. He is feeling confident. He told EDG that he is ready to dance, and he is showing us his best moves right now.
Warmog's on JJ. He can take the front line at the very least, so both junglers actually able to play up, take the punishment, come back out of combat for 10 seconds and go back to full HP, basically. They stack on up, but you can see Zeka putting the top side, doing very well on the Akali. It's top tier 2.
And I think it's really, really smart for JJ as well. You're looking over, Deft is constantly poking away at them. They have a Bloodthirster on the Apello, so he can shut off the poke. They're looking for Scout.
Viper had an easy target there. He got Scout going for the knockback on a second, getting him away, but that's 2 ultis down for mid and jungle. Baron is up. Is that the play? Viper, again, missing the important cooldowns. Gale Force, the only thing left up, so a flank could look very good as Beryl plays for the mid lane with Kingen. The rest of his team owns the top river.
Yeah, they have to wait for Deft. Deft was picking up that red buff, so he is back now. And it's just rinse and repeat. DRX's game plan very clearly seems to be find flanks, get poked down, but there's more and more players on the enemy team that have ways to actually deal with this now, between the Warmogs, between that Bloodthirster as well. So it's really about trying to poke out Scout and Mako now, it feels like, mostly. And they're just going to start up the bear and try to draw them in.
Look at the ult. Scout and JJ don't have them available. Zeka is on the flank. Everything looks good for DRX.
4,000 health left onto this one. When does he get into the pit? Does he have a chance here for JJ? Gonna Q, flash, smited away by Pyosik, well secured on the Baron. Is this team fight gonna happen now? Is Kingen gonna push out Flandre staying alive? JJ cannot leave the pit. He's gonna drop. Baron and a kill. Well done, DRX.
Dangerous flip there from DRX, but they do get the secure. JJ gets into the pit, but Pyosik is able to nail it. And that puts them 10,000 gold ahead here now. For EDG, they've just got to try to hold on and look to fight for Soul. We can watch it one more time. Zeka's trying to keep JJ away, but they can't even get close to him. JJ gets into the pit. It's down to 700. And he had the smite. It looked like he was trying to do a combo, but
knocked back on a second. Huge damage, invisible. Does he have damage in his skull? Oh! Yes, he does! Death captive, baby! It's going to be one. A Gale Force, but not in range for the rest. Zeka gets away.
Wow, Zeka is able to get the solo kill onto Scout. A bit of revenge after game 1. This time he's able to find the ultimate, and this time he'll shut down the mid of EDG.
And now that's a lot of the wave clear gone here for EDG. Azir is their best wave clear here, so they're pushing in through mid, they're pushing in through top, they're getting these lanes going. It's going to be difficult to actually control. Deft even pushing up bots, so they want to try to play through 3 lanes here with the Azir missing and get as much damage done as possible.
Deft has a TP, he can split without any issues and just join the team when a siege actually happens. 50 seconds till Dragon Soul. That will be during the Baron buff. DRX 2,700 so far in the Red Bull Baron power play they've got so far. And you know they should have an easy time walking back down and securing Drake for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be difficult for them to get out of the map. But look at this, a TP flank coming in here from Scout.
Okay.
Can he actually find Deft?
Can Deft survive? Arcane shifts 1. He's got a QSS. He's going to shuffle away. Keeps it up for a bit more time, but he should still be the target. And they kill him. And Gary is down. But the base is under attack. Onto the Nexus turrets they could be, but don't want to take an actual 5v4. Pyosik finds a bit of time there against JJ, who wants a slow knock-up. He's going to land. He doesn't have the last shot just yet. But maybe with Jax they have it. No, he's going to get away. But 10 seconds until Dragon Soul, and Deft is 30 seconds after that.
And they have the inside track, but they could go top. They can actually go top here and try to turn it into a chaotic cave. They're sending 3 top. They're going to try to go for a second inhibitor. Who goes back to defend? Pyosik is harassing them. Mako's base has been canceled, so it's Flandre and
2v3.
Viper.
2v3. It's enough to defend the Nexus turrets, though, is the thing. Maybe wants to go in for more. I mean, without the big carries, right? Zek is the only one. Jumps in for Viper, but zoned out. Rooted. Stopwatch. He can stay for the stun. Goes for Barrel. And again, he finds the Heimerdinger. Aatrox kills off Lulu, though. The fight's still going across the map right now. Dragon Soul has been claimed. And Flandre has what? He has vision. Ward. Flash stuns. Second. Oh! And
the tower
hits the minions. And Zeka gets away.
Oh,
the bottom side, though, Scout is being attacked. Does he have the damage? He does not. 10 to 10 in kills. A 10,000 gold lead.
This game is insane, Freak! Oh my god, EDG and DRX, an absolute slugfest. Back and forth, but DRX are the ones coming largely out on top in the gold lead. But the Soul is going to do a lot to eliminate that. And Scout got a 1K shutdown off of Deft as well. So if they can hold on here, if they can defend the base, they're going to have this permanent Soul buff, and the gold lead won't mean nearly as much. So DRX are trying to push to end right now.
Timer walking out of the base. It's a 4v4 on this push. JJ holds the front line, but without Scout, they're missing a lot of damage. A 3-item Azir, certainly pretty relevant. Of course, Baron is gone, inhibitors are gone, which means supers are coming in. It's going to be a double stacked wave on the top side, as you can watch it slowly kill the enemy wave. But they're going to retreat back down. They know with Scout respawning, they don't like the fight anymore. gonna play it slow.
And you can see how cautious DRX are still taking this game. Even with the lead that they have, they recognize that EDG's way back into this game is a single good team fight. They have to leverage their range and take their time. They now start threatening the bot side of the map. The mid wave is pushing in, and DRX patiently make their way towards EDG.
Viper wants his kill! Oh! On lands! And Viper screams across the world into bot diff, baby!
What a play from Viper. Pops the Ghost, goes in, finds the Gale Force, finds the ultimate, and gets the kill on Deft here. Deft is doing about as much damage as the rest of his team combined. Without him, they can't push.
Viper sinks his fangs into the heart of DRX as Deft will fall, and now EDG will finally take the tier 1 tower in the mid lane.
Timing gonna be pretty close this one. He can almost get the turret before the TP completes.
I spoke too soon.
Time. There will not be the full siege just yet. 3 in mid. Mako's still there to support Viper. Keep in mind, no stopwatch. He doesn't have infinite safety. Zeka just eating back over to his own Shroud. Not going to find the play just yet, but with Scout sieging, with a stun on the jungler, they're going to push him off to go for the mid turret, and they should kill it.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the tower. They just don't have any wave clear without Deft. Deft really is it for this team. This full build Ezreal will not have the GA. So it's going to be tough to actually knock down here again.
And this is the scariest thing for DRX because we talked about it at the beginning of the game. You can see the respect that DRX is showing. EDG's comp is lethal in the late game. It is so difficult to play against. And up until that point, DRX were playing a very clean game. Yes, EDG was finding a pick here and there, an objective here and there, but DRX were the ones largely in control. But this was the first point of weakness that we have seen from DRX, and EDG were quick to capitalize. Now they've reclaimed control over their topside jungle. They pushed out the bot wave, and now the Baron is on the board once again.
2 control wards in the pit right now. Not going to clear them away. The vision is fully there. Mid will be pushed in, but Zeka on the wings. Gets rid of Scout's Banshee's Veil. 6k health. Already getting burned low. The damage is so incredibly high. Pyosik stuck in the pit, gets stunned, and Zeka waits in the wings. He has not yet looked for the flank as he gets rid of wards. Pyosik low but not down. Flooded him back in the team. Ooh. And Barrel safe in the wings now as well.
Barrel being forced back incredibly low. This is a big win for EDG. Pyosik looking to try and heal on the backside of the Baron pit, but good highlight there. Zalen Freak, that top wave is continuing to push in, and it's something that EDG have to deal with. Instead, they make their way towards mid.
Flandraid walked up. Poppy's going to recall. She looked for the play, but they've already recalled out Scout, so it's going to be just the push towards mid and the retreat back, because guess what, though? Poppy is on the flank. Poppy's on the flank. She's going to get here before Azir. They've got a chance at finding the kills. Viper has flash. Viper has flash. Oh, the root stun to Pyosik. Will it be the kill? Stone Plate is not enough. Viper is simply too huge.
Viper does it again. The root from the Graviton stops Pyosik finding that pick on the Mako, which would have been the difference maker in the fight. DRX now a man down. Can they stop EDG's Baron?
I don't know that they can. They don't have a jungler here, and Barrel has no flash.
Deft has TP. Deft TP's to the top lane. They've got to get back to the base. They've got to answer him.
Double TP.
They're going. They send more. Sedge gets the stun, but inside the pit, they're still playing for Baron. It's secured, but Deft kills turret number 1. He kills turret number 2, and the Nexus is in his eyes, and he's gonna get the
inhibitor! The inhibitor is back up! What?
He cannot get the stun.
No way! Oh my God, Deft, no! The game was in your hands, Deft! It was right in front of you, and the inhibitor spawns! Absolute heartbreak for DRX. That was their game, and an inhibitor stops the Nexus from falling.
Quarters of seconds made the difference here. The inhibitor goes back up with a single auto away, and Elder is spawning.
I cannot believe that just happened.
It's just insane. And the stop on the Aatrox as well. The stop on the Aatrox, you have to wonder how much faster could it have gone down? Would they have had the extra damage with the Aatrox here to actually get the kill? I think they would have for sure. So the Sejuani stopping the Aatrox really made all the difference there.
Oh no! It's so painful to watch.
It's so close, and Deft loses everything here. He loses the TP, loses the GA.
I can't believe it. I've never seen that in all my years of playing League of Legends. I have never once in my life seen that happen. EDG will now secure the Elder, and it feels like the DRX are losing everything.
If King had TP'd from a slightly different spot, or if JJ didn't spot him and stop him there, DRX win the game. If the inhibitor respawns, 1 second later, DRX win the game. And now it is Soul, it is Elder, it is EDG pushing forward here with Viper feeling like an unstoppable force. But DRX must find some way to stop him.
Zeka has TP. If he finds a way in, it's not going to happen there. Flandre is actually in base. Deft's going to Arcane Shift out away. Theoretically, it is 5v4. Against Elder Dragon, it is tough, but Flandre is playing to make sure there's not a TP play. Inhibitor's easy to kill. And next is 2 hits afterwards. They have to cover the base. And the thing is, this looks so EDG favored. They've still got Baron, they've got 5,000 gold with it, and they're bringing Flandre over. They're trying to end the game here. Beryl, chunked a bit low. Viper, Gale Force down, has Ghost, but no Flash. He is killable. They evict only minions. This small wave can be cleared. Shirelia's popped, 30 seconds in the Baron. Walking in for a bit more. Pyosik chunked a bit. Zeka waiting the wings still. King in on the side, jump now on by Jax. Viper still playing to the edge. One hit will kill Pyosik. He tries to get in range, can't find him. A Ghost is now popped. No defensive tools left. There's a shuffle back. It's a stopwatch to buy some time. But does he have a target in his eyes? It's not gonna happen. A solo kill for Flandre inside the opposing base. Flandre may die, but doesn't matter because the base is going to fall. Death dies Nexus to Nexus, and EDG go up 2-0.
What an incredible game between DRX and EDG. These two teams battling back and forth to the final seconds here. A game that truly came down to the smallest of differences. This is one where you will be able to go back and watch and find 10, 20, 30, 40 different things that could have changed the outcome to this game. The smallest decisions really changing everything.
I'm lost for words. I've never seen that. And you can't, like, everyone is a Deft fan, okay? The man is a legend in the League of Legends scene, and it felt like that he took the game in his hands and he was about to win it for DRX, bringing us 1-1 and still making this a dead even quarterfinal. And to have him at the Nexus, like that HP bar was gone. Like it looked like it was over. I saw that auto attack flying through the sky, and then you have to give all that credit to Viper finding the solo kill onto Deft. The plays, the gravitum onto Pyosik. Like, this was truly a masterclass AD carry performance from both sides, and it was Viper and EDG that at the slimmest margins end up coming out on top.
The fact that Viper does as much damage as Poke Ezreal, like, yeah, oh, Ezreal, 900 damage per minute, yeah, like, very expected. The fact that he did this on Aphelios, he's like, I gotta auto-attack people. There's a Poppy and an Akali diving me. Yeah, no, he's fine. That is just incredible. A mountain of a gold lead, 11,000. Nah, EDG still walked it all the way back.
119 HP is how much the Nexus had.
119.
I mean, there's so many things there. It's like, did he have gold for like a red elixir and not buy it? You know, could he have actually like changed out some sort of item? You know, there's a million little things that you're going to be thinking.
All the analysts are going to come out now.
Oh yeah, you can box that at 1/4 speed. Like Sheen proc metagaming, the auto in the air start your Q, the auto has Sheen proc on it. Like there's a million Ezreal optimizations you could do. When did you W? Did hit the turret? You could have gotten more Ws in the turrets. Like there's a million things. Just an Ezreal PvE 1v0 that can matter there.
It's so crazy. But like what an amazing game. What an exciting game between these two teams, right? It really did look in the early stages with all these deaths that were happening down in the bottom lane. Beryl was getting picked on heavily. You know, he's 0-5 at one point, and you're thinking, all right, well, EDG are just going to run away with this, right?
Yeah.
But DRX really started to bring it back. They started to find those picks, those plays, and made this game so incredibly close.
We've spoken enough, so I'm going to let you take it free.
We've got things to read on the teleprompter right over there. Do you know Emily Rand? Of course. Well, you should at least. I do as well. Yeah, she's pretty great. Now, not only is she on the analyst set, she's also one of the hosts of the Rift Reaction podcast on Spotify. Emily and co-host Travis Gafford discuss the biggest league news and hot takes each week with a new episode dropping on Spotify every Wednesday. So when you queue up that latest episode, we're heading back over to Stay From Analyst Desk featuring Emily Rand.
Ooh.
Thank you so much, Freak. And what a game 2. It's EDG up 12 in the series, but they had to steal that one from the jaws of defeat. What a wild, wild game.
Okay, it's really hard to follow yesterday, right? Whoever was going to do it had a tall task. And while maybe you can say the level of gameplay is not there, the entertainment certainly is.
Yeah, I'm not here to evaluate the level of gameplay, just the level of excitement.
It's not believable anymore.
And max level of excitement.
And now looking at this draft, people may have noticed that on our bingo board, we put no ganks top because, you know, neither of these teams are particularly known for playing through their top side. However, in this game, they say, let them have the Aatrox, Flandra has the Jax, we're going to constantly go top, both teams.
All I care about are inhibitors. All I care about are... That's all I'm hearing right now.
I'm going to need you to wait, Kobe. I'll get you those inhibitors.
It was a long game, Kobe.
Oh
but I think we do need to talk about how this game developed a little bit. Number one, because as Emily mentions, it kind of goes against what we would have expected to be the approaches for either of these teams, Chronicler, with putting a lot of attention towards both of the top players, Aatrox, Jax matchup, and everybody wanted to look to swing it.
Why are you asking me to talk, Dash? I need a moment.
Quiet,
No.
we'll have a 3%.
Okay. Hear me out. I actually really like the adaptation because I do think that Kingen is the easiest exploitable in terms of laners for the side of DRX. Zeka, especially when he's on the Kali, much harder to deal with. Bot lane, even though Beryl didn't have the best of game in turn of getting picked on, is self-explanatory. So even though it feels counterintuitive for how EDG normally plays, it actually works out well. This is one of the funniest left, right, and left,
They
and
were
right,
up here
and
for
left,
so
and right
long.
that I've ever seen. Yeah, because initially I liked it because you wait out the ultimate.
You take nameplates off, and this does not. This looks like AI fighting each other.
So both teams are thinking, the other team won't expect us to go to the top side, you see. But then the Jax pick into Aatrox does necessitate it. Really, it came down to so much of these objective fights, though. And in this one, EDG trying to run away with their tail between their legs after taking the dragon. But this is where DRX really started to build this giant momentum that got them to that lead.
Yeah, that dragon, I believe, would put them on sole point, but as you mentioned, they get routed from that point forward, and while they had the kill advantage prior to this fight, everything gets evened up, and then some, with turrets falling the way of DRX. But also, we have to talk about Beryl on this Heimer. 2 games in a row now. He's just been a pest, man. He's been difficult to deal with.
He also died, like, I don't know how much it ended up, like 5, 6, 7 times. But this is peak Beryl, right? We have seen this even last year at MSI, that he can be somewhat of a liability. But the key thing here is that he was, to me, one of the biggest contributors for kind of throwing EDG off of their game, hitting stunts like this, which is what set up the mid to late game for DRX.
Yeah, I know it's a loss, but I really do think this Heimerdinger is a problem for EDG.
Oh,
for sure.
Demonstrated as such.
This is a support.
This is the play I was waiting for because he holds this for actually so much longer than's on here for Pyosik to come and pick that up. It was so funny. We were just like, wait, Beryl, yeah, okay, I guess he can solo as Heimer.
It was getting it done. It was getting it done for the squad. DRX was in great position in this game, but as we know, the game of League of Legends, every second counts. And thanks to the reliable Cisco network, and this one, every second would count. As Deft goes for the game and an inhib and 119 HP on a Nexus stands between him and victory.
I just want to take you back to 2020 when Deft pulled Damwon when he was on DRX. A team that had just 3-0'd them got 3-0'd again. Last year on Hanwha Live, drew T1, got 3-0'd. And if you tell me that Deft is gonna go 0-9 in quarters because of this inhibitor respawning, one auto attack, that's no way!
I also want to call out, though, the Sejuani ultimate that stopped the second TP. Because if that second TP goes through as well, of course they have enough damage to get through that Nexus.
And the reason why EDG is still in this game is because Viper's insane. We had a lot of really good team fighting from them, so it's not just this, but if it's actually a 3-0...
DRX, blue side, Emily, how do they extend the series? It's been an exciting one, but it still has landed us in a 2-0 situation with EDG knocking on the door of the semifinals.
I mean, honestly, I don't hate their draft.
What they've done,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think this has come down to a lot of, like, key moments of execution. So I think they will I'd be curious to see if they stick with the Heimer, because I don't think the Heimer's definitely not been the reason why they lost. I actually think it's looked really good for them and allowed them to have that push bot. But I do wonder if they're just like, oh, we can deal with this, maybe pivot to something else. That's the only thing. But like, I don't take massive issue with their draft.
It's a tough one to solve here for DRX, as again, things look good for them in that second game, but they now find themselves in a reverse sweep kind of situation. Now, as we grow ever closer to our World Championship, a reminder that if you can't make it to San Francisco for the finals, you can watch on the big screen with friends and family at one of 600 theaters and counting near you. Use the QR code below to purchase tickets. We'll see you back here for Match Point right after this.
Touch it.
And DRX patiently make their way towards EDG's
Viper wants his kill.
Oh!
On lands! And Viper screams across the world into Boston, baby!
Double TB!
They're going. They send more. Seth gets the stun, but inside the pit, they're still playing for Baron. It's secured, but Def kills turret number 1. He kills turret number 2. And the Nexus is in his eyes, and he's gonna get the
What?
He cannot get the stun.
No way!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bring me the next.